Ladies and gentlemen, dear Montessori friends, dear colleagues, and dear everyone who has joined us today on streaming, because as you know, we are actually streaming this event live to the whole world. Right now, there are tens and tens of people who are watching us and who are with us in the room. I'd like to welcome you to the first international conference for Montessori school founders, owners, and directors called Leap Montessori. My name is Mirka, and about 2/3 of you know me because we have emailed together. I actually kept the privilege of being in touch with every single one of you by email about all the little things that you needed, because I wanted us to be friends even before you get here. So now I'm really looking forward to have faces together with your names. I'm the founder and director of Montessori Institute Prague, the host of this event. When we were looking for the initial video, we wanted to find something symbolic which will go along with what we are going to try to do here. And I think you get the logic of why we did that. There are 163 people in this room from all over the world. Some of you have come from as far as Australia. There are people from India. There are people from Japan. There are people from Russia, Brazil. What are the other countries? Czech Republic. Do you want to name your country? Where have you come from? Vietnam? Armenia? Azerbaijan? France? Poland? Norway, Singapore? Philippines, Canada? Algeria? Ireland? Italy, I think we have also Italy, and there were Spain? Israel. Okay, somewhere wasn't named. Is there anyone else who wasn't named? Denmark. United States, of course. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. What a privilege for us to have you all here. The idea to organize this event resulted from the International Montessori Congress, which we held in Prague last year. Some of you were there, so you may remember I have shared my story, how I came to Montessori. And after the Congress, people came back to me and asked for more information, for advice, sharing on how to establish a school and so on. So the seed of the idea was rooted there. As most of us in this room, I found out about Montessori through my own children. My son was born 13 years ago, my first child. His name is Krzysztof. And I was a parent looking for how to raise my child 13 years ago. I didn't know anything about Montessori. And together with a group of friends, we established something that we in the Czech Republic call a circle of mothers. And out of that came idea for a mother's center or a family center. We would do fun things together with our children, sing along, arts and crafts, and so on. And that's how I came across Montessori. And then later on, for those children of ours and for children of other parents, we established a primary school. And when we did that, we realized we need to learn more about Montessori because there was not a training center in the Czech Republic at the time. So I contacted AMI, and they sent us a first trainer, and we organized the first AMI 3 to 6 Montessori training in Prague. After that, as you all know the story, the children grew, so they followed to an elementary program. And in our school, we continued and established an elementary school, a lower elementary. Now we are opening and building an adolescent program. And hand in hand with that, with the growth of the school, grew the training center, Montessori Institute Prague, because as children grew, we needed the 6 to 12 training, so we organized the 6 to 12, and it sort of grew together. Now, to make this is a 13-year-long story. Don't worry, I will not give you all the details. My son is now the child 13 years ago. The baby is now a student of an adolescent farm program in Sweden. And we are here. 163 of us who have a very similar story, I'm quite sure. We are people who have established schools. We are people who run schools, or we run training centers, or we run country Montessori associations. We are in it together, and as you all know, sometimes it can be a difficult, hard, and lonely job. We are responsible to the families in our schools to deliver quality Montessori programs. We are responsible to the children in our schools to help them, support them to grow in the best possible way. We are responsible to the staff that works in our schools. Excuse me. Because those are people who are interdependent with us. They share our vision, and together with us they help us to bring the vision about. And we are responsible to our communities where the schools are located. And most of all, and this may sound a little bit cheesy, but we are also responsible to the world, because the sustainable future grows in our schools. Somebody wise once told me, if you want to build something really authentic, go inside yourself and find your biggest need or your biggest hurt. Create something out of that. So that's what I did, and that's why we are here. I took the loneliness of leadership that I felt, the weight of the responsibility of everyday decisions for finance, for people's lives, for children's lives, for families' lives, and I organized this conference. Having seen 163 of you sign up, I have a feeling we have hit the spot. So I really wish that this conference becomes a great energizer for you, that you have come in all of your great authenticity to share, to not be afraid, and really be out there with others, to create space so that others can share with you, but also to be nurtured and taken care of, because I know you need it. And I just really want to make sure you understand that we are in it together. And as soon as this speech is over, I will turn from an organizer to a participant. And I really look forward to create those relationships together with you. And before I hand over the microphone, I also want to share that we have a vision for Lead Montessori that goes beyond this event. Because we all know that you kind of go to a conference and then, you know, what's after that? It's a conference, and yeah. So this isn't just a conference. This is a first gathering of a first physical meeting of people that I really hope are going to stay together in touch. And we really hope we are going to create a lively and ongoing network, which will be called Lead Montessori. The conference will be an annual pillar of the network, so we will meet in Prague every year, over and over again, to actually see each other's faces and be able to give each other a hug. But we will also create an online platform where people can be members, and there will be webinars. I hope we will have online support groups, thematic documents, sharing documents and sharing experience. Well, so this is the vision, and I really wanted you to know that you're part. This is the first step of that vision materializing itself. And I was just going to say that the need or the inside spot that I have taken to create this is the base. But of course, to build a house like this, a house called Lead Montessori, and we would like for it to be a very stable, very welcoming and very warm house with a great environment for you all, we will need some bricks. And those bricks, I really hope, will be our speakers, Kathy Minardi, Sue Pritzker, and Peter Davidson. Because it's like with a school, you can't build the school on your own, and we can't build Lead Montessori. I can't do it on my own. So I'm really hoping that this will be a long-lasting relationship and will build something very special. So welcome. I'm now going to give the microphone forward. But before I do, I'd like to introduce someone to you, and that is Sonia. Is Sonia here? Okay, Sonia is not here. So Sonia, Sonia, and there's Zuzka at the door, but Sonia is downstairs probably. Some of you know Sonia from the conference. If you need anything, please go to Sonia. She has a little bit of a dark and reddish hair, and she knows everything about what you need. So please talk to Sonia if you need anything. And also, I would like to introduce our two wonderful translators, and that's Lucia Bzenecka and Barbara Surzak, who are now translating to Czech and Russian languages. So thank you for coming. It's a really special honor for us that you're here, and I really look forward to these 4 days, spending them together with you.
I will probably start with a tear because we have such appreciation for Mirka. And if you knew all of the long-distance weekly phone calls that we made to collaborate and organize this event, you would be amazed at the energy and the vision that Mirka has. So first of all, I hope we can all say thank you very, very much. I know we all three feel really very privileged to be led by Mirka. And I would like to say that I am Sue Pritzker. I'm so excited to be with you. I have watched Kathy and Peter, who have worked in Russia and here in the Czech Republic, and watched the number of friends that they've made. And I am just looking forward to becoming friends with as many of you as I possibly can. I am currently the head of school at Child Peace Montessori in Portland, Oregon. I've been at the school for 31 years. When I started, it had 40 students, and we now have 360 students. We have a toddler A to I program and all the way through an adolescent program. Personally, I'm really fortunate to have found a path early in my life. Montessori really allowed me to use creativity and passion for children, and also my deep desire to nourish healthy community around myself. I completed 15 years after taking primary training in AMI in Atlanta, Georgia. I was in the classroom for 15 years, and then I added work as a primary level consultant with AMI in the US. And then I moved to Portland, Oregon, and enrolled my daughter in a school that had a toddler program, and looked around and I went, I don't know that this is going to last. they discovered I had some experience, and 31 years later, I'm still there. I've been a member of just 2 school communities in my professional life. The first was at Marin Montessori School in Northern California. And for the past 20 years, I have been trying also to help administrators do their work. I found, especially as a consultant, that when the teachers were struggling in the classroom, it was because they were really having difficulties in the whole school system. That it's hard to do very, very good work as a teacher when the whole school system, the whole community is not working really at its optimum. So that's when I really started putting my energy into working in groups like this. So I would like to say I very much appreciate being here. I love that I am a Montessori professional, a Montessori mother, and now a grandmother. And I know Peter and I just had this conversation that this is a life of service. And when you are spending as many years as we have, you come to the end and realize you may not have as many hobbies in your life, but you do live the passion every day. So I look forward to spending the next few days with you.
Hello, everyone. I'm the shortest one here. Hope you can see me. I'm Kathy Minardi. I'm not an antique yet, but I'm getting older. I have been one of those around for a very long time. I did training in 1966-67. I have been the school leader of 3 schools. One I owned, went through all the pain and difficulty of not having quite enough money to pay everybody over some times. I've lived the life of running a school through all the joys and the difficulties over 40 years. This last school that I led was Ayden Montessori School in Washington, D.C. for 20 years. Ayden is the 2nd oldest Montessori school in America. And it was a great privilege to be the head of school at Ayden. I, two and a half years ago, retired from being a school leader and moved on to just consulting. That's what you do when you retire, is consult. And so that has sprung forward into opportunities to really travel all around the world and speak and help you with the work that you're doing now in your schools. So that is a great privilege, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. When I was leading a school in the 80s, I'll share my story later on, but our school went through a tragedy of the death of a child. And it led to an opportunity for me to have my eyes opened about school leadership, and that world wasn't really available to us. And I began taking courses and studying. I'm still learning and still studying because organizational leadership has become my passion. And it has been an amazing experience to discover that new leadership methods are congruent exactly with Montessori pedagogy. And so that's part of what I'm here to share, and I really look forward to it.
Hi, I'm Peter Davidson. Can you all hear me? Any of you have hyperactive boys in your school? You notice how I didn't stand behind the podium? I'm that hyperactive boy, but 60-some years later. So you can feel pity for my teachers when I was little. I got into this work in 1974. I trained at the 3 to 6 level. How many of you got into school administration by route of being a teacher first? The hard truth is you look around and nobody else is willing to do it. And it has to be done. And most people I know who are heads of school or school owners who were teachers first, all their careers they want to get back in the classroom. So I have wanted to get back in the classroom since I left the classroom in 1980 and never made it. So, hi Irina. So that is not meant to sound hopeless, but the work that we do is very important. And I'm going to stray off of my introduction just for a moment by saying that I grew up in South Florida, and I was in South Florida in 1962 during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Anybody else remember that? No? Well, at that time, the President of the United States was John F. Kennedy, and the premier of the Soviet Union was Nikita Khrushchev. They each had a red telephone on their desk. And all they needed to do was pick up that red telephone and they'd be talking to the other person. I've always thought in my career that I'd like to have a red telephone that's connected to somebody who's my mentor or friend or whatever. Because when there's a crisis, you need somebody to talk to. Does anybody in this work ever feel a little bit lonely? Okay, so I've always thought that how come it is that I'm the only person in the whole community that needs to act like an adult every day? It's kind of unfair, isn't it? But again, somebody's got to do it. And that's part of our role as leaders. So one of the purposes of this weekend is for you to identify the person or persons who are going to be at the other end of your red phone. Does that make sense? So that parent is coming in to talk to you. You have a meeting in a half an hour, and you know that they are going to be foaming at the mouth and yelling at you, and you're concerned about how you're going to respond. Pick up that red phone and talk to that person so they can talk you down off the ledge. So that's a big part of what this weekend is about, and so there's a lot more opportunities for meeting, mingling, and socializing than ordinarily would happen. But it's up to you at each of those breaks to go up and introduce yourself to one or two people you've never met before and share your stories and start finding who those people are. First of all, you'll feel less lonely. And secondly, you'll find out who the people are that you can call on when you need to. Just in terms of background, I was a head of school for 27 years just outside of Portland, Oregon, and grew a school from an enrollment of 9 to an enrollment of 180 on beautiful property that we own and buildings that we built. Then I thought I was retiring, and I went to Southern California, and my friend Maura Joyce talked me into coming out of retirement and becoming assistant head of a much larger school, Montessori in Redlands. It's kind of unique, and I hope you get to see it someday. Some of you have been there. Montessori in Redlands is a private school for 360 students, ages 18 months through age 12. But we share a campus with our sister school, which is a government school, but Montessori, for adolescents. So on the whole campus, there's 600 students from 18 months through 18 years. And it's kind of unique. So I hope you get to see it someday. All right, they gave me the microphone last because I'm going to start into the next part of our program. And I have terrible allergies, so I have to take decongestants. So you'll see me drinking water a lot. Sorry. So building on what Mirka said, I would like to invite you to stand up if you're from the continent of Europe. Okay, let's welcome our European friends. Okay, sit down. Now, those of you from the continent of Asia, please stand up. Yes, let's give them a round of applause. How about North America? Excellent. How about South America? Yeah. Africa? Oceania, that is Australia, New Zealand, Melanesia, Micronesia. Anyone? Anyone from Antarctica? Someday a penguin is going to come to one of these programs. All right. Now I'm going to give you some exercise. They put me on for the comic relief and to get you moving around a little bit. Please stand if you are a school owner. Wow, a lot. Well, they never get applause, so let's please give them some. Thank you. Now, if you're a school principal or administrator but not an owner, please stand up. All right. How about if you're in the classroom on a daily basis, whether you're an owner or a principal or a teacher or an assistant or whatever, please stand up. Okay, next are teacher trainers, or if you work for a training center or a national or regional Montessori organization. And how about if you didn't stand up already, and maybe you don't actually know why you're here, please stand up. Yay! Thank you. All right, a little more standing. Please stand if you are planning to start a school. All right, let's really give these people some applause. And those of you that have been in this work for a long time, let's be really gentle with them. Let's not really tell them what it's actually like. We need people to start schools, right? And if you knew then what you know now, might you have not gone down that path? All right. Stand if your school has at least 100 students. Okay. Remain standing if your school has at least 200 students. Okay. 300 students? 500 students? Oh, wait, we still have some people standing. 800? 1,000? How big are your schools? How much? 1,000. 1,000. Wow. Okay. Now a little more standing. Please stand if you have been in your current leadership position for 1 year or less. All right. And you're still standing. Thank you. 1 to 5 years. Okay, great. Thank you. 6 to 10 years. Wow, look around. These people have survivability and knowledge. All right, 10 to 20 years. Wow. Anybody other than the three of us? More than 20 years? More than 20? Stand up. Wow. Anybody more than 30? Wow. So at some point this weekend, I'm going to turn the program over to you. All right, now we're going to do something very interesting that I learned from my dear friend Maura Joyce, the head of school at Post Oak School in Houston, Texas. And this is going to rely upon you being self-organizing. He says with a wicked smile on his face. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to get up and form a line from that corner of the room all the way along the side, along the front, and over here to the hallway. At that very far corner are the people who have not yet even started a school or started in this work. And then it's going to be arranged by the years of experience that you have. Does that make sense? So those last people who were standing, who have over 30 years of experience, are going to be way, yep, I'm confirming with you, you're going to be standing way over there. So is that enough instruction for you? Any questions? Yes. I would say in this case, leadership experience, but if you don't have any leadership experience, just go where it feels right. Okay, you ready? Yes.
Sorry, is this in Montessori schools or any schools?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I'm going to say in Montessori schools. All right, get up and self-organize. So we call this exercise the snake. And what we're going to do in a moment, Sue is going to go to the head of the snake, the most experienced, and curve the head of the snake around and bring it alongside you until the head of the snake gets all the way to the tail. All right, and then we'll have the most experienced and least experienced matched up with each other. Does that make sense? All right. Okay, you guys get ready to start moving. Start moving, you guys, that way. That's it. Okay. Hey. Oh. Okay, you should be matched up with someone now. Try to be matched up with one other person. Introduce yourselves. You have 5 minutes to talk. Okay. Hey. Oh. Clap, clap, clap. Everybody. Everybody. Back in the back. Stop talking for a moment. Thank you. That's something I do with children, and it always works, but isn't it true adults are twice as hard as children? So you should be matched up directly opposite one other person, and that person is going to have a very different amount of experience than you have. Chances are this is a person that has valuable information to share with you. So we're going to take 5 minutes for you to introduce yourselves to each other. Let's have the inner line move down a little bit further. Sorry. Okay, 5 minutes. Introduce yourselves. You really enjoyed that, didn't you? You could stay there talking the rest of the weekend. Sorry, I'm going to ask you to return to your seats. Thank you so much for being cooperative. So you all work in schools with small children, right? Right? I think it is. So think what a story you have to tell them when you get back to school. You were part of an enormous snake in Prague that stretched well over 100 feet long. Or how many meters? So did anyone meet somebody that they think is going to be a lifelong friend? We just have a few minutes before the break. There really is a break coming at 3 o'clock. But we have about 10 minutes now. But I'm just going to ask you if you think about what brought you here to Prague. I know for some of you it was really specific, like I want to start an adolescent program and know how. I have a particular group of parents that are bothering me. How do I herd cats? So, can you imagine herding cats? It's impossible. Cats go where they want to go, right? So sometimes probably you feel in your school like you're trying to herd cats and to get them to go in one direction. So anybody would like to stand up and share with all of us, what was that issue? What was that thought? What brought you here to Prague this weekend?
I'm from the east coast of Canada. My name is Rachel, and I came because, as I was just saying to Kathy and Sue and Peter, I started my training with them in a classroom and in a workshop like this, but a lot ended up on the back deck of Kathy's house on her patio in DC, and these folks literally helped me build my school. So when I saw this coming together, I had to come back because we're now waitlisting CASA with 25 students, have a lower, have an upper, and we've made the commitment to our families that we will grow with our children. And so now I need to know how to build the adolescent program in a very small market. Upper Elementary right now has 10. So how do I stay financially viable and still grow my school?
So for our international group that is watching us streaming, what brought her here was basically how to grow the school, adding the next level. And we're all in some phase of that, or most of us are, right? If you have a toddler program, you want to add primary. If you have primary, you want to add elementary. If you have elementary, you want to add an adolescent program. I hope there's nobody thinking of starting a college, but who knows? Growth is wonderful, and it's what we're all about, but it also comes with its issues and its problems. And one of our responsibilities is to keep the school sustainable. And if you grow too quickly, that can be lost. Who else has something that they would like to share with all of us that brought you here to Prague? The translators need to hear.
Hi everyone, I'm Hadar. I came all the way from Israel, and one of the reasons we came over here that the Montessori scene in Israel is quite small, and we are definitely looking to collaborate and to meet other educators and other leaders who that are maybe have more experience in terms of how to translate it. Some of the materials will definitely have big issue of training, and we're definitely trying to find out how and to learn from other schools how they do it differently. We're still growing. We just started our first adolescent Montessori program, the first one in Israel.
Wow.
So we faces many challenges, and what is better than to study and to learn from other Montessori educators and leaders.
Thank you. So let me have it first. So translators, did you get all of that? Great. What brought them here is that Montessori is just in its founding stages in Israel, and they'd like to collaborate and learn from other people who have started Montessori movements in their countries. So let's have a show of hands. Is there anybody who has too many teachers? No? That's an issue worldwide, and one that I'd like you to think about during the weekend. And we'll be having open space
technology.
We're going to be having open space meetings
4 to 6 on Saturday.
on Saturday afternoon. So those of you that have similar issues or problems, or maybe by regions, you might want to organize yourselves and say, I will on Saturday afternoon set up shop to talk about the teacher shortage in Russia, whatever it is. All right?